Welcome to Building Futures, the podcast where we explore how architecture shapes the way we live, design, and dream. Today, we're unpacking a topic that's essential for anyone planning to build, renovate, or expand a home: building permits. They might sound technical at first, but they're the foundation of every safe and successful project. To help us break it down, we're joined by Khaled Khadra, founder and lead architect at Kalgreens Architects. Thanks for being here, Khaled.
Thanks, happy to join you.
So to begin, before we dive into details about home additions or renovations, let's take a step back. What exactly is a building permit and why does it matter?
A building permit is official permission from the city or local municipality to begin construction. It confirms that what you plan to build complies with building codes, zoning, bylaws, and safety standards. But it's more than a legal formality. It's a guarantee that your project is built right. It protects the homeowner, the builder, and the community.
That's a great point. So it's really about protection and accountability. Let's go through what people most often want to know. So first, when do you actually need a building permit?
Anytime you're changing the structure or function of a space. That could mean building an addition, finishing a basement, changing windows or doors, or adding a new deck. It also includes commercial renovations or converting a space's use, like turning a garage into a studio. If it affects safety, structure, or the exterior, you'll need a permit. There are some exemptions, such as detached accessory structures that are less than 10 square meters or 100 square feet in area, less than 1 story in height, have no plumbing, are not a livable space, and are not attached to another structure, for example. There are other exemptions too. Those exemptions are detailed on each municipality's website. But in general, if you are adding, removing a wall, removing an opening, adding new plumbing fixtures, or relocating them, you will need a building permit. Artificial work like painting, replacing the floors, or finishes do not generally require a building permit.
And what happens if someone decides to skip it?
It's risky. You might face fines, a stop work order, or be required to remove what was built. And even if you get away with it short term, it can cause major issues when you try to sell. Buyers and banks check permit records.
Can you walk us through what the permit process looks like from start to finish?
Sure, it is a slightly different process between different municipalities. In some municipalities, there is a separate application for zoning and a separate one for the code review, which is basically the building permit application. But generally speaking, we prepare architectural and engineering drawings that show exactly what's being built. Once everything's ready, we submit the application and pay the fees. The city reviews the plans, and if they need clarifications, we respond. After approval, construction can begin, with inspections by the municipality's inspectors at key stages to make sure everything matches the approved drawings. Finally, the city gives a final sign-off, officially closing the permit.
What if a design doesn't fully fit within zoning requirements, like it's a bit taller or closer to the property line than allowed?
If the proposed variance from what is allowed is justifiable, we apply for a zoning variance through the Committee of Adjustment. It's a formal request asking the city to approve something slightly outside the standard limits. The key is to prepare a design that respects context. We always balance maximize functionality with compliance. This process, the Committee of Adjustment application, will add a couple of months or more to the project timeline.
And what are the most common reasons permits get delayed?
Incomplete submissions, missing drawings, unclear scopes, or uncoordinated sets between architects and engineers. At my practice, we make sure everything aligns before submission, so the review clock actually starts ticking right away.
How long does a building permit usually take? And who's responsible for getting it?
For small projects, 3 to 7 weeks for the building department review. For larger ones, 2 to 3 months. And before that, the design process will take some time, between weeks and months, depending on the project complexity. So if you are applying for a permit to finish your basement, for example, that is a couple of weeks' work to complete the designs. But if you are building a custom home, the design will take 5 to 6 months, sometimes more.
And how much does a permit cost?
It depends on the project's size and construction value. The city calculates a fee per square meter or square foot, but we estimate that early so clients know exactly what to expect. And each municipality has its own fee bylaw, so it varies drastically. Let's go back to the example of finishing the basement. That would be around $500 in city fees, while a custom home would be a few $1,000s.
Let's talk about one of the most common cases, home additions. How does the permit process apply there?
Home additions are a perfect example of why permits exist. They often involve structure, foundation, electrical, and plumbing work. So the city needs to review those elements to make sure they meet safety and zoning standards. It's also where we guide homeowners most, making the process clear and manageable. When we handle the application, it's not just about getting approval. It's about making sure what gets built reflects their vision and meets every regulation.
So, in the end, why are building permits truly worth it?
Because they build trust. In architecture, the number one priority is public safety. The permits protect your investment, ensure safety, and preserve property value. They're how we make sure a design doesn't just look beautiful, it stands the test of time. We help clients see permits not as barriers, but as part of the design journey. It's the framework that allows creativity to thrive responsibly.
Beautifully said. A building permit isn't red tape, it's the roadmap to a project done right. You've been listening to Building Futures by Kalgreens. If you're planning a renovation, addition, or new build, visit kalgreens.com or follow us on Instagram for guides and